are the two questions they definitely gonna ask kids. Alright, so you wanna make sure that you know, so that when we ask the kids, they know. Alright? Second question, what transferable understanding do we want students to learn from this lesson? And the third question is, what is the CFS for this lesson? Okay? I have 6 minutes, 3 minutes a person. I'll give you a cue when 3 minutes is coming, and we'll switch. Questions? All right, let's do it. I'm coming to work with you, Miss Winston.
Yeah, because I was gonna say it's not
Yeah.
I was typing my email over.
Oh my gosh, she's so extra.
Okay.
My business is college written explanation is one slow to compare best corrections using the engagement strategy they'll use compare share and error analysis.
That's good.
So I'll use think, pair, share, for this strategy. And error analysis when it comes to what transferable understanding. So for them, I want them to understand that they have to constantly compare numbers, and everything we do. When they go shopping and they have to compare prices. They must be able to look at money and know, hey, am I even getting a sale, or did the store just literally put a number in a different form? So it's really transferable from today's lesson, which is putting different numbers in standard, unit, and expanded form.
Okay.
So they will read these numbers. Some of them they will get in different forms, like written form, standard form, expanded form. They will have to know how to put that number in standard form, and they really get the base value chart, which they did best for to compare it.
You know what I think we would have examples in a real quick mention like groceries. You know how you go to like the little chicken wings, right? Or
Yeah.
even like beef or whatever,
Right.
it says that they'll tell you that the price is X amount per pound. And some of them will be like 5.67 pounds or 5 point whatever. I think that'd be a good example for this too. Thinking about like, okay, we might spend how much we want to spend.
Because they gotta know how many pounds they're not gonna need based on how much money I'm gonna spend. They don't have to compare their spending.
Right.
Kind of started there.
So what's the CFS? So you mentioned the place value chart.
Alright, so they're going to first line of the decimal.
In 2 hours you make.
They must know if I have 2.3 and I have 0.8889. Although that number has 4 digits, it doesn't mean anything, because when you line them up, that, based on the face value, it
So
tells
basically, that's what we do.
what that number is.
Knowing what motion graph is, now understanding what
Yes,
graph is
so
set.
I did put that in my bar.
You pick any point on the graph. And, transfer, like I said, we
So
talked
that's
about,
something we've been doing.
how to plot the
Place
graph,
values,
how to
placeholders
load
don't
the
add value.
And I'm
So
talking about
we just
how to
set
read
some
it
place, but it
as far
lets
as,
us know that
not
it
just
has
pick
to
out.
compare.
Right.
Just talk about order pair two, not pick out order pair 2, 3. But what does that mean?
Next, they will compare each place value to a place value.
The whole video, independent,
So both places got two.
depends on this, so what
If
the
this
graph
one is
is
3, this one is 2.
this Bible word, whatever word, the time, whatever, depends on, when the money depends on the time, so
To compare the
every Bible, it's the independent, that's the one that stays the same on.
Do you think they're gonna struggle with that?
No, I think they're gonna struggle.
Kind of started today, I do this
Because they'll be
maybe it's to the
confusing.
wall, so I'm trying to
This is 0.8,
standing in
this
the
is
wall,
0.7,
keep going,
this, so this one is
hopefully
already
that
small.
extend will be good.
I know it, you're comparing.
CFS, they got basically just annotated, and it's not only gone, how to find the work there, it's still practice with the,
I'm gonna stand
you
it.
got the X and Y, first X, so first then Y, when you move there, and,
Have they worked with,
inequality before in your class?
No, this is
Talk
their
about the unit rate.
introduction and
So you got the unit rate, but then
Okay.
finally the unit rate to the,
I think I definitely agree with you on that. I think that's gonna be the biggest misconception.
Why,
I think especially in
over
your
X,
class,
so we
you
do it all.
might have
You
to
know, why
spend a
X,
little
so
time
one,
here
finally
with the difference between less than and greater
Basically,
than.
I
take
said I
a
was
look
gonna
at
tell them
the
less
rate,
than looks like
find the
graded
graph,
A's look like.
once you found the graph, tell you what
Okay.
that means.
And you can also say, the way that I remember it is the arrow points to the small
Hopefully,
number.
you put unit rate, find order pairs, reading the graph, putting it all
But those are
together.
two that I'm already
You wrote
anticipating.
that right there for misconception, they may think that
Make it make
numbers
sense.
with the most digits are.
But when I did an example today, I showed a video, an example, just about the easy ones, about, how much time you work, how much
Connections
you
that you make
Yeah.
to writing learning, because we still in the same group.
Yeah, it goes back to place value, place value is the root of everything that we do. So this time, they're gonna be using to compare numbers based on this place.
That's one they really,
And I'm gonna
most
have
of
your,
that.
your big place value chart.
So I think I might start off
tomorrow.
with
I sent it to Mrs. Lawrence, right?
So they got
you have a big poster version.
cookies and some flowers,
So
for
you can
example, I might
get
start off
that on
with
there
that,
too.
wages and time, just so they work, I can make it, then switch it to cups, flowers, cookies.
Look at y'all stopping right before the time. Okay. The next thing that we're gonna do, actually, I wanna have a couple of y'all, especially Fobs and Rojas, I think we should hear from y'all, around, especially this first question, around what's the lesson objective for that lesson and why it's important. Because remember, that's one of our focuses this week, is 2.1. So literally, anytime somebody comes to observe you, they're gonna ask at least 5 of your students, what we learned today, right? Why are we learning that? So, talk to me. Rojas, Fobs, what's y'all's lesson objective? Why y'all think it's important? Or what connections can we make?
So mine was talking about, tomorrow for the, representing proportional relationships and, determine what points mean on the graph, according to the situation. So we've talked about what proportional graph looks like, we've talked about how to plot on the graph, we've talked about order pair. Now we're gonna, talk about taking the graph and reading it, what does that order pair mean? So we kinda started a little bit today about, I used the one to Rojas, used the one, the easy one, just time and wages, because everybody can understand that. So how much money you gonna make? Well, it depends on how many hours you work, so just knowing if you see, 2 and 20 on the graph, in this situation, if time is, X value, Y is the money, in 2 hours I made this amount of money, so. Just, putting everything about the graph we learn about, putting it all together and actually reading the graph.
It's good. And I like what you said, because it definitely connects back again to the mathematical problem solving, CFS, right? Making meaning of the problems anyway. So I think it lends right into that for the graph. Good stuff. Rojas.
Mine says that kids will be able to understand that a ratio often describes the relationship between the amount of one quantity and the amount of another quantity, and use ratio tables to solve problems. So this is like building off of like that knowledge that they have been learning over the past week and a half of just like, hey, this is a relationship between these two values. But now we're gonna be able to use this in a ratio table, like, oh, like these relationships are equivalent, no matter where we go on this table, right?
Yeah.
And connecting it back to like, what is the value of this ratio, right? Like all of these values are the same.
It's good. It's good. So just one of the connections that made me think about is we're about to go into fair season. And so the amount of tickets, the tickets cost a certain amount, right? And so depending on how many tickets you want, the price may be different, but it's the same unit value. So that may be an example that you want to use just as a real world, like kids love going to the fair.
Like the rate is the same for all the tickets, however, depending on how many tickets you buy.
The price is gonna be different.
Okay.
Yeah. So that might be just a good real world example that you can tap into that they would connect with as we go into fair season. Good stuff. Winston, what you got for us?
You heard me.
I know, but Five said Rojas didn't hear you.
Alright, my kids will be comparing decimal fractions to the thousands place, using place value. They will show their knowledge by using greater than, less than, or equal to. And, my kids, I'm going to stamp that, no matter how many digits you have, the value of the numbers is what you're comparing. And, I used a real world problem that, what did I say? Oh, comparing, prices in the store when you go shopping. You need to be able to look at two different prices and say, hey, this one is more because this reason. And you can look at place value, literally, the place of each digit. That value will tell you if it's less than, greater than, or equal.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Important that we talk about that. I think you should be thinking about at least 3 places in your lesson where you can stamp that objective. So at the beginning of the lesson, of course, after we've read the lesson objective, maybe after the key activity that we've done, or the key item that we're gonna make sure that we monitor, right? We wanna always bring them back to it then, and maybe even before the exit ticket, we coming back to it again. So at least 3. It's not saying that you can't do more than 3, but at least 3 places you wanna be able to stamp that objective and why it's important. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is gonna be like a choose your own, not a choose your own adventure, but we'll work independently. Because on the next couple of slides, I pulled STAR questions that are aligned to the TEAC that you'll be teaching tomorrow from 2022, 2021, and 2019. And what I want you to do while you're looking at that, we're gonna take 5 minutes here to do that, but I want you to think about these 2 questions. So number 1, what do you notice about how the standard is assessed during your independent practice for this lesson and your activities for that lesson compared to how it will be assessed on the STAR? And is it aligned? Right? Because if it's not, maybe it's something that we want to adjust. Right? Those are the problems that you want to label as must do for students. Right? So the questions that are most aligned to the STAR test are the ones that you want to make sure that you monitor and the ones that you make sure the students do before they leave class. Okay? Second question is, how do these assessment items add to our understanding of the standard? Right, so a lot of times we look at the standard, we prepare our lesson, right? We want to know what does the assessment items kind of add to what we already knew about that standard, okay? So on the next couple of slides, you'll see I have 5.2b for 5th grade. There's a lot of problems here, just sift through and see. 6th grade and 7th grade. So find your slide, and I want you to think about these 2 questions and label them on your exemplar. Questions on that? Okay, we're gonna take 5 minutes on that. Go ahead and start. Say,
How you gonna give me some this still? Like me.
A mess.
So we, in our problem set, see what questions are most aligned with these.
and you wanna label those so that you know you can use it in monitoring during that time. You are making sure that kids can use those types of problems, because it's the level we're trying to get to.
You remember me? Cause you next.
Lots of
I might
grass,
say that one's
Mr.
mine.
Frog, lots of grass.
But essentially one.
And I think this one.
Here's,
was like,
on this one,
the
where's your
question
mom?
was
Yes.
got rid of everything.
Just like explaining the multiplicative relationship between, values in relationship to equal. And just like I have that
It's just like
what that really is, cause I was
And your problem set?
looking through and it doesn't
Very similar to what.
It's all.
Cause that's what, the table,
Yes, and
You
this is
see
when I was
one,
even in
two,
Mississippi,
three,
this was
four
on their map,
tables.
like tables.
So they should be divided.
So that may be something that we wanna add.
A table, like this one is, I like this
Well,
one.
like,
They
cause
have to
also
compare
what
every one to see which one's right.
explained is like the
Mhm.
constants that's used to change
Like,
the
I like this.
equivalent ratio.
The rigor high on that one.
Cause this one is just, which one is not correct.
Uh-huh.
But this one, you gotta let it go.
So the person is gonna be
And then from the table compare.
So that's what I'm saying,
So I
they
like
should
that,
be,
especially for my kids
They
that's high,
take-
like I got some kids who, after we, by the time we get
cause
here.
it should
they
be
don't want
already
this.
put in, it as a fraction.
So
So they
where's
write
your plan to go on
3 over 2,
tomorrow?
Yeah.
and then they write 6 over
I was
4.
gonna just compare,
They'll see the
well, I had to,
equivalent,
I
but
was
then
gonna
they should
compare
also
number,
be able to simplify.
with like 3 digits and the number with 5 digits. The number with 5 digits would be less on purpose than the number with 3 digits, but I saw
That's
some
been
stuff
my thing,
there
like, you
that,
know, almost
you know,
like,
add the placeholders and then tell them, once we compared, that number with the most digits was less than the number with the 2 digits in it, so. That one, and then I'm gonna do the actual compare
Because you're
one
trying
with,
to- Unless,
you know, comparing place values.
Okay.
But it looks like here, I need to have something in my lesson plan that they, like this right here.
Yep. And that's why I was saying that would, man, that's a high rate one, I think that would be a good line question because.
Right.
You would have to put all of these in the place value chart and then label
Gotcha.
which one is biggest, largest to smallest.
And you killing like 3 birds with 1 stone, cause you're showing them how to line them and put them in place value chart and compare them, and then that's when you.
so cause you feel
answer the
this, right, it's
questions
not
based
given to
off
them,
once
right?
you put it in place value.
The one thing that I might adjust on is to
Cause like,
even just
it
take it
gives
a little
them
bit
this
higher
and
for your CFS that you talked about, with
Yeah.
adding the placeholders.
Yeah.
Cause I will make some of these different amount of digits, so I might
So
just
that's
say
what
this one is
when-
1.31.
when the
Okay.
this
I'm gonna say this one is 1.2.
Okay.
Because
And then keep the
eventually
rest of them
you'll
with
have
going all the way to the thousands place to
Okay.
see how they,
they don't call it.
I got you.
how they do it.
Because sometimes it won't always be to the thousands place, you gotta add those placeholders to make it go to the
Right.
thousands.
Kinda like this one.
Right. This is good.
Yeah, cause like, that's where they've been like identifying like, how
But
do I know that
You
these
see,
ratios
this one
are
is a good one,
equivalent?
cause they gotta do greatest to least, and then show what place they ask about specific.
No matter what,
where it's
marks
all.
on these, they should still be able to.
Right.
Got it?
But I think you definitely got these.
Mm-hmm.
That's all included in this lesson.
Yeah. And then this is kind of the same as that one.
Yeah.
To ask about the place. So I think
No,
this
question
one,
20 feet.
this one definitely is. I don't even know. Which one of the comparisons is incorrect, so it's kind of the same.
They give them what it's not in?
So that may be one.
Yeah,
So
one.
adding one like those.
And then,
So I really, like you said, I'm gonna create
And they don't give them any guidance.
my
Actually,
thing
first.
for this,
So you don't have to do
and
it.
then they add this one as a question.
Yep.
But the goals that you see for the.
And, depending on how much time they got left, but they've been running through some of these
yeah, so
lessons,
this one is just like.
B and C.
Mhm.
I'll add some of these as extra questions.
Yep. Yep.
B and C still doing good.
Yeah, I think that's where we start on that.
Misconception.
Uh,
Plan.
that's our time. We need a little bit more time there. How y'all
Oh,
feel?
yeah, I got a question.
Okay. I'm gonna give us another 2.5 minutes, and then we gonna go to thinking about our think alouds. Okay.
Oh, that's where I'm struggling.
You think aloud?
So I guess the question is.
I just have to remember, frame.
Uh-huh.
As I write, I want you to think about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Or even giving
but
them
your
a quick
feedback
note table.
in my, lesson did help me, cause I was like, I went back, I said, what was I talking about? So, you said focus on 3 things, and then just say it like you're talking. I was like, okay, so it can.
I would honestly,
And what I was
especially for
looking at is
you,
like this
cause you,
It's like,
I
which
think
one is
you,
not true?
Yeah.
it might be
So,
the
like,
typing it
they
out
would
soon.
know,
So maybe think
I
about,
got 2 minutes, I
I
double
know they have
my
apps that
so
you
I
can
have
do
3
voice
minutes,
to,
double it.
voice to
So
text.
it's kind of getting.
So just teach it as if you're gonna be teaching it.
Right.
And it'll make the text for you,
So in
yeah.
order to do that, it has to
Like you
be
said, but
multiple,
a lot of these show
initial.
when they give you
Yeah, it has
something,
to be
you got to
multiple.
grasp
Yeah, I
the
think like
Yeah.
but not really like every
Yeah,
lesson,
the
so so I
model,
can just,
right, when you get a
am
blank
I in
table.
one of those?
Yeah.
Multiples of two,
So that's why I wanted y'all to look at these, because, like I said, Eureka is, it's good, but it's not always aligned to the star.
Yeah, it's a bunch of, stuff that talks about stuff we can learn, but nothing how it's success.
Yeah.
Another question, give you the question, then you gotta pick which graph.
Mhm.
So I can,
Cause all of these are, they give you a scenario, you gotta define the right graph for the right table.
Yeah.
So, and if they don't have practice with that,
yeah, and all these just interpreting the table, just reading the table, and
Yeah.
tell me what it says.
yeah. So I'll maybe add a couple of those, and even, you know, like you talked about, you still, I know we haven't officially started A&I yet, but this might be another place where we start talking about, you know, what type of skills we wanna add into there in that first 30 minutes. But I think it would definitely be good to add at least 2 of these types,
Yeah.
like where it gives you words and you gotta
They,
have
they
interpret.
start about how to read the graph, today anyway, about number of
I think
days.
like maybe that
When it comes
as a
to
challenge.
customers on the day, so we touch on how to read the day, so if I start tomorrow with,
Because they should be
Something
able to
like,
see that 3 or
percentage,
2.
Mhm.
it's
I
all
should be
which
able to
graph
get
says,
a
which
multiple
circle how
of
to read
6
graph,
to figure out what the
Mhm.
other
which
side
graph
is.
And you go backwards now.